Hello friends, Namaskar. There is a Field Marshal in Pakistan. This is not a routine rank. It is the highest military rank in most armies and it is rare, awarded sparingly. So the question that must be asked, what exactly has General Asim Munir, the Pakistan Army Chief, been elevated for? I am Tilak Devasher and you are watching The Great Game Reloaded. In military tradition, the rank of Field Marshal is conferred for wartime victories. Did Asim Munir win a war or even a battle? Or would he go down in history as being the only general elevated to this rank after a military defeat? Pakistan has had one other instance of a Field Marshal, Ayub Khan, who had staged a coup against his benefactor Iskandar Mirza. The difference with Munir is that while Ayub had relinquished the post of Commander-in-Chief and given it to General Musa, Asim Munir is still serving as Army Chief. There is an interesting anecdote about how and why Ayub elevated himself to that rank. Jamshed Markar, in his book Cover Point, Impressions of Leadership in Pakistan, speculates that Ayub promoting himself as Field Marshal could have been motivated by a Punjab regimental ceremonial march past in 1959. This was led by Field Marshal Sir Claude Auchinleck, who was the former Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army before partition and Supreme Commander of the Indian and Pakistani armies immediately afterwards. Auchinleck was the honorary Colonel Commandant of the Punjab Regiment. During the march past, Auchinleck raised his Field Marshal's baton in salute, while Ayub Khan as a general had to reply from the stand with a hand salute. This did not go down well with Ayub. After the parade, one of Ayub's aides borrowed Auchinleck's Field Marshal's baton. It was duly copied and Ayub declared himself Field Marshal. Auchinleck was angered by this abuse of military etiquette, since this rank was only awarded for exceptional service rendered during wartime. He later told Iskandar Mirza in London, and I quote, "I earned my rank for my efforts in World War II against the Germans in the Middle East and the Japanese in Burma. What battle has Ayub won that he presumes to call himself a Field Marshal?" Fast forward to today. If he were alive, Auchinleck would ask the same about Munir. What battle have you won? He would be aghast with the answer, none. So why was Asim Munir promoted now? And what does this say about the Pakistan Army, its politics and its image? First, who is Asim Munir? General Syed Asim Munir was appointed Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff in November 2022. Though senior-most among the Lieutenant Generals being considered for the top slot, Munir's appointment was controversial. He and his cohort were promoted to 3-star generals in September 2018, while the other generals joined immediately and so retired in September 2022 because the Lieutenant General has a 4-year tenure. Munir did not pick up his rank till 27th November. It was very unusual for an officer at that level not to pick up his rank immediately. Hence, his retirement date became 27th November 2022. Because promotions usually take effect from the date of assumption of command. While this was just 2 days short of the retirement of his predecessor, this tactic also made him the senior-most among the Lieutenant Generals to be considered for the top job. The cabinet had to issue a retention order under the Army Act, allowing Munir to continue in service and take over as Army Chief on 29th November, instead of retiring on the 27th. These technicalities embroiled Munir's appointment in controversies, so much so that the supporters of Imran Khan referred to him as the retired general. General Munir became the first Army Chief hailing from the Officers Training School, Mangla, rather than the regular Pakistan Military Academy, Kakul. He was also the first Army Chief who served as Quartermaster General and to have headed both the MI military intelligence and the ISI, the Inter-Services Intelligence. Hence, rather than a fighting general, this made him a backroom intriguer and a manipulator. The terror attack in Pulwama in 2019 came on his watch as DG ISI, and the attack in Pahalgam when he is the army chief. This tells you a lot about the man. Another distinguishing feature of Munir is that he is Hafiz-ul Quran, that is, one who has memorized the Quran. Not surprisingly, he does not lose any opportunity to quote from the Quran and liberally use terminology associated with jihadi discourse. People have asked whether this helps in defending the country. His stint as head of the ISI was brief. He ran into trouble with the then PM Imran Khan, who removed him in 2019. Munir never forgot or forgave the humiliation. Quite likely, the PMLN government of the Sharifs chose Munir as army chief due to his deep-seated animosity towards Imran Khan for removing him as DG ISI. The Sharifs and Munir have common ground in opposing Imran Khan. Let's talk about the timing of his elevation as Field Marshal. It came just days after Pakistan suffered a massive defeat at the hands of India following the Pahalgam attack. As a retribution for the dastardly attack, India struck back hard with Operation Sindoor. The Indus Water Treaty was held in abeyance. India struck deep inside Pakistan, destroying 9 terror headquarters and camps. Pakistan's air defense systems were rendered ineffective. 11 air bases, including those hosting F-16s and nuclear assets, were seriously damaged. And what was Munir doing before all this? He was busy giving communal speeches about Islam and Hindu India, about the two-nation theory, and Kashmir being Pakistan's jugular. In reality, Kashmir may or may not be Pakistan's jugular, but it certainly is the army's jugular. The army has leveraged the Kashmir issue to corner a large proportion of the resources of the country and paint itself as the defender of Pakistan's ideology. At a time when Pakistan ranks second worst globally on the Global Terrorism Index, Munir claimed that there was only a little bit of terrorism in Balochistan. Prominent Pakistani politicians have acknowledged that large parts of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are effectively outside government control. A week later, he presided over the Pahalgam massacre, believing that India would not respond, and even if it did, it would unify a polarized country faced with a polycrisis. In his wildest imagination, he did not imagine the Indian reaction, non-kinetic followed by kinetic. He had not anticipated that terror headquarters and air bases being attacked in Punjab. So much so that Pakistan was forced to plead for talks and show the white flag that they had had enough. But how to sell this surrender to the people of Pakistan? How to cover up Munir's loss of face? How to reassert control over domestic perception? Even before Pahalgam, Pakistan's military image was collapsing. Internally, there was dissent, the rank and file were demoralized, and what they saw was happening in the country and the deteriorating security situation, especially in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Junior officers were questioning the leadership. Imran Khan continued to be as popular in the army as in the streets. The economy was in shambles. Against this backdrop, Operation Sindoor was an unwelcome force multiplier. It was not just a military defeat, it was a psychological one. Pakistan's delusional narrative of invincibility was shattered. Its nuclear bluff called. So Pakistan did what they do really well, narrative warfare. Through propaganda, through creating a myth, through distraction, through optics. The elevation of Munir to Field Marshal was not about battlefield performance, but about narrative building and consolidation. You give the defeated general a baton and call him a Field Marshal. The elevation wasn't a reward for victory. Far from it. It was a desperate attempt at damage control. It was like promoting the captain of the Titanic for great navigation. Instead of accountability, Pakistan handed out a promotion. The Field Marshal title was a sedative, a signal to the domestic audience. We are still in charge. We are still unbeatable. We have notched up a victory against India. We elevated a hero because we won. Muni's promotion is thus a symptom of a deeper rot. Despite dominating the polity, it is a military that can't take responsibility for defeat. It is a system where propaganda and narrative matters more than performance. A country where generals become field marshals to distract from failures. When the rank of Field Marshal is conferred not for victory but to manage optics, it loses its meaning. Instead of Field Marshal, it becomes Fiction Marshal. India, by contrast, did not declare any heroes. It showed results despite the fact that it had changed the game, the rules of engagement, and the equation. That's the difference between strategic culture and a culture of narrative building. Operation Sindoor was swift, precise, effective. When you win, you don't need to shout. You don't need a field marshal to do so. Muni's promotion changes nothing for Pakistan. It is not a celebration of victory, but damage control for defeat, the creation of another myth, like the myths created after 1965, 1971, and 1999 wars with India. Because in geopolitics, perception may be powerful, but only until it collides with reality. Because with titles, you can't stop missiles, you can't defend borders with batons, and promotion doesn't erase humiliation. When history is written, it will be about the day India struck terror factories in Pakistan. It won't be about a field marshal. In future episodes, I will talk about why the army dominates Pakistan. Thank you for watching. See you again soon with another topic and another anecdote. Do like, share and comment. Until then, I am Tilak Devasher. Namaskar and Jai Hind.